in business, it's really important to know which direction you're going, and hopefully it's always in the right direction. And our next guests are from Compass Operations. Welcome to the show. How are you guys?
Doing well, thank you.
Good.
Thanks for having us.
Patrick, we got to meet at an entrepreneurial conference. You were one of the speakers, a panelist. And I said to you, I loved what you represented, and I wanted to have you and your partner here today, so welcome.
Right, thank you.
Businesses, right? We were talking about going in the right direction. You've been involved with companies that have been with 145 million, and you've also seen them be worth zero. I wanted to ask you what your why is. Why did you guys decide to come up with this company where you were there to help guide businesses in the right direction?
Right. It's a good question. So Tom and I met about 21 years ago back in the dot-com era. So we saw the beauty of the dot-com bubble burst, and we worked for a very large company that had started out, actually can we?
Yeah, just talking it.
So we worked for a very small startup company that grew to be very large, about 1,100 employees and 145 million. And after 4 years of us putting our blood, sweat, and tears into this company, it went under. And we felt, having looked at it, that it shouldn't have. There should have been sustainability. The business wasn't really taken care of. It wasn't really managed correctly. And being a different level of employee in that company, we realized that we didn't have the control to be able to help that company succeed.
You didn't have the say, right?
Right, exactly. So as we grew our careers and we became experts at our craft, which is operations, we decided then to take it into the market directly and help businesses succeed and stay afloat, because we see too many companies that they go under for reasons that they could help themselves, but they don't. So our passion comes from watching a very successful and large startup company grow to 145 million and then disappear within a year and a half. It's unfortunate.
And one of the recent successes is that you had one of your clients, that was still doing all their businesses like by paper, and they really couldn't make the transition into new technology. So can you talk to us about that, like action plan for them? And how that really helped
This
them?
was actually a company Patrick and I had worked for, another startup company.
Okay.
And the data collection, it was a market research company in the pharmaceutical market research area. And the data collection was very antiquated by technology standards. So we were able to take that technology, leverage the wireless data collection activity to make that data basically real time. So whereas reporting would be weeks, sometimes months behind, now it was basically real time. And that transition also saved a lot of money, improved data collection, increased speeds. So things like that, that's where the transformation takes place.
What do you feel people should do as a first step? They have an idea, they're an entrepreneurial type of company, because I know you work from startups and then also large corporations. So let's talk from a startup's perspective. When somebody comes to you or you hear that they want to launch a business, what are some of the first steps that you think that they should take?
Right. The biggest mistake I see is that there's no business plan.
Okay.
Many companies start out with an idea, and it's a great idea, maybe a service or a product, but there's no planning around that. So they have a good idea, they start to build on that, and incrementally they're chipping away at various parts of that business, but not with a structured plan. Where do they want to be 2 years down the road? You know, what type of service are they going to provide, and how are they going to define that service? The market that they're going to address, or the market that they're going to target. There's not a lot of planning around that. So I see the biggest void in business is the lack of a business plan.
And sometimes you can learn from other people's mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
We actually saw that coming out of the Long Island Entrepreneurs Conference.
Okay.
We spoke with a few of those companies after the conference, and most of them really didn't have a concrete plan. They knew what they wanted to do, but they were kind of flying blind.
Okay.
So.
And it's also how much capital to invest. And do you need a small business loan? Are you going to work with your own capital or someone else's capital? And you know, how are you going to get supplies? How are you going to get, they say marketing, you should spend about 5% of your overall idea for marketing the first year and 3% to sustain it thereafter.
Right.
You know, because a lot of times people just, they're like, oh yeah, we're in business. And then, but nobody knows they're in business.
Right.
Right. So part of their dollars have to go into marketing.
Right.
And you help them do all of that. You will sit down with somebody and walk them through step by step.
Right, correct.
Okay.
And we see sometimes where businesses, when they do get funding, that they don't allocate the funds correctly to the right areas. Like I just came across a business recently that was about a $3 million business, and they had somebody funding it, but they were hiring the highest level executive staff. They had 5 C-suite positions. They had 9 vice presidents on top of that. how do you sustain a $3 million business when your payroll is more than $3 million?
Right. And then the car allowance on top of
Right,
that. And then
exactly.
everybody's got a fancy watch, right? It was like too much. I get
Right,
it.
and you have to be scalable. I mean, what we do is help businesses scale over time. So you want to make sure that your initial investments are spent wisely because they don't stay forever. I mean, if you're not generating revenue to sustain the growth, then the business is going to go under. So we help structure the company and have them spend the money the right way.
The other thing that I know that you guys are known for is that for those larger companies, right, you go in and you can strategically realize like where they're just like letting money fly out the door, you know, whether it's paper cost or, you know, certain licenses and things that they have and long-term deals that they might have with the copy company. And you go through and strategically help them align and there's a cost savings there for them.
Right, absolutely. We just came out of a global billion-dollar corporation where we spent 4 years or so working with them to not only integrate their parts, but to look at how they were doing things across the globe and to standardize it. I mean, the money that they saved in just harmonizing the way they were doing their business was tremendous. So they had never done this in the 60 years that this business has been around, but then decided that they had no other choice. They had to start saving money and operating independently across the globe where each department, each country is doing things their own way, is not taking any economies of scale into play.
Where's the fun in it for you? Where is like when after you get it, you know, you're helping the company, right? When do you get to celebrate and say, "Wow, guys, we did a great job"?
Right. When you see the turnaround, really,
Okay.
it's the end product. You know, especially when you're in there day in and day out, your sleeves rolled up, integrating processes, automating processes, and then you walk away. You get paid, hopefully, and then walk away and see the company succeed. And then hopefully down the road, the company's growing so much they call you back and say, "Now we need help growing. You helped us turn around. Now we're expanding and we need to grow more."
And a lot of times your fees are almost paid for themselves because the money that you're saving the company kind of pays for the effort that you've put in place for them.
Always pay for themselves.
Yeah.
Nobody will pay our fees if we're not 10 times in savings that we provide back. So we're always making
Patrick, that's wonderful.
we're always making the clients money. But seeing the clients meet their performance goals, and we're a performance-based consulting firm, a little bit different from some of the ones that are out there. We only get paid when we produce. So we
Okay.
have milestones and deliverables for our clients. And probably the best passion and joy we see is when our client is actually signing off on that performance measure and saying, "You guys really achieved what we expected, and we're happy to pay you."
You know, and it's funny too because even with the show, like I remember having one person in particular, Bonnie, was on the show many years ago, and she came up to me afterwards and she said, she goes, "I'm opening up a new location." She goes, "My own building. I bought my own building." She goes, "I just wanted to tell you thanks." She goes, "I was on your show, blah 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 blah." And I said to myself, I was like,
great.
"Wow!" And you know what? And that's the reason I do it too,
That's
because
great.
you get to see concrete results in somebody else's life.
Right.
You get to be part of their success. So.
Yeah, and when we see businesses that are on the verge of failure, and we can go in and help them, in some cases we reduce our cost in order to gain a relationship, seeing them actually sustain and turn around is the best feeling.
I love that. You guys, thank you so much. Your heart's in the right place. You're both brilliant minds. Well, you are brilliant minds. I just you're both blushing, but I thank you very much for joining us and wish you all the best of success. And we want to keep hearing those great business stories of the people that you're helping.
Great.
Absolutely.
Glad to
Thank
come
you for
back.
having us.
Thanks,
Compass,
Donna.
Compass, right? Compass
Compass
Operations.
Operations.
There you go. Dial them in. Compass, they're the way that's going to head you in the right direction.